bigger than the bomb that devastated Omagh. A £600 bomb is defused in South Armagh.
Had this device exploded, it would have demolished local housing with fatal consequences.
But first, tonight's top story. Police say a blockbuster bomb planted close to the border was intended to murder police officers.
The device contained £600 of homemade explosives bigger than the Omagh bomb. It was defused by the army outside Forkhill in South Armagh, as Niall Donnelly reports.
This was the scene around Carrick Road in Forkhill this morning as the 4-day-long operation to dismantle a huge bomb abandoned by dissident Republicans on the South Armagh County Louth border came to an end. The bomb consisted of £600 of homemade explosives, the sheer scale of it thrown into focus when you consider that the Omagh bomb of 1998 was a £500 one and it killed 29 people and 2 unborn twins. This massive device in South Armagh was left just outside Forkhill, close to 6 houses, and was just 50 feet from the nearest dwelling. The command wire to trigger it led from the roadside where it was planted, across fields and into the Republic. The bomb was defused by army experts from both sides of the border. Had it exploded, the police say it would have had devastating effects.
This was a substantial device, so much so that had this device exploded, it would have demolished local housing with fatal consequences. Police have had to evacuate 6 homes and 6 families for an extended period of time, and I would like to thank that community. This was a device planted by reckless criminal terrorists with the aim of killing police officers engaged in providing a community service to this area. However, they gave no regard for the residents of that area and should rightly be condemned.
Leading politicians have condemned those who planted this bomb, describing them as reckless and evil.
It shows very clearly the ongoing threat of terrorism. It shows that there are evil people out there, still prepared and with the equipment to take life in Northern Ireland. I'm delighted it has been diffused, but it does show that there is still a very real and present danger.
The discovery of this blockbuster bomb comes just days after a so-called show of strength by dissident Republicans in nearby Mike, and it's just the latest in a series of deadly operations by them this year. In January they abandoned a £300 bomb in Castlewellan, and in May in Rosslea the component parts for a £100 device were found. Already this year dissidents have killed 3 members of the security forces, 2 soldiers were shot dead at Masserine Barracks in Antrim, and a policeman shot dead in Craigavon. The vast majority of people will be mightily relieved that a bomb of this magnitude has been found and defused, but the fact it was planted at all shows that dissidents still retain a deadly capability. The police insist they have the resources to combat them. Niall Donnelly, UTV Live at Newry Police Station.
The bomb made safe in Forkhill was a huge device. The police may have been the target, but they say the bombers were reckless and dangerous in the extreme and didn't care who they killed or injured.
The search for the bomb began on both sides of the Armagh-Louth border after a warning last Tuesday. Local people are asking why it took the police until Saturday to evacuate nearby homes. Our County Armagh reporter Gordon Adair is there. Gordon.
Well, Noel, as you rightly say, this was a huge bomb, but I think to put it into some kind of context, it's worth taking a moment to think that this was £100 bigger than the Omagh bomb, which of course tragically claimed so many lives. And this one was in that hedge right next to this quiet country road and only yards from several family homes. The trail of a command wire stretching across the border just outside Forkhill. A few days ago that wire was attached to £600 of potentially deadly homemade explosives. This morning, after a week-long security operation, the police confirmed that bomb had been made safe, but they said it could all have ended so very differently.
So this was a substantial device, so much so that had this device exploded, it would have demolished local housing with fatal consequences.
6 families had to be evacuated from their homes during the operation, including one woman whose house was less than 50 yards from the bomb site.
It just does not bear thinking about it. It is really very, very serious. They're out to kill me and my neighbours. As far as I'm concerned, I hate this place now.
The area's MP says those behind the attack have no support taken seriously.
I think there are parallels here with the setting up and formation of the provisional IRA back in 1969. Security forces and some political people were saying, no, there was no threat, but that's clearly not the case. There is a high level of threat.
Now, there is a great deal of anger and anxiety here this evening, but there's also relief, I think, as people start to come to terms with the magnitude of just what has happened here and that realise exactly how bad it could have been. Noel.